The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Canola Producers Commission, SAS Canola, and Manitoba Canola Growers.
Welcome to Real Agriculture's Canola School series. I'm Kara Oosterhuis. In this episode, I talked to Adrian Moens, who is the owner-operator at AJM Seeds. Adrian and I talk at Canola Palooza in Lacombe, Alberta, about scouting your canola crops with drones. Adrian talks about what you might need to know if you're getting into this for the first time, some of the different cameras you can use, and how this might actually speed up your overall scouting process. However, Adrian still highlights the importance of putting your feet to the ground, walking the fields, and seeing those crops eye to eye.
So I think one of the better things to do is, originally when I got started with the drones, I would fly into, I'd just take it to a field, put it in the air. It kind of take a visual of what the field would look like. If there's a problem, especially on corn when it's taller, you cannot see exactly what's a problem area if you're just walking up to it. So if you have the drone in the air, you could kind of see a little bit further down, and it'll give you an idea where to walk and scout and find out what the problem is. That was originally before there was any mapping technology. This is about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I have to see when I first got it. Since then, I've now used mapping programs for the last couple of years, 3 years I believe, a drone deploy. I will be able to put a boundary around the whole field. I set the height and I will just let it go, and it'll automatically go, fly autonomously, take a number of pictures, and I could bring it back, stitch it, and get a whole field image. And actually the last couple of years, last year and this year, they have now what they call live view. So if you would fly the field, you would, by the time the drone is landed, you have a complete stitched image on your iPad or Apple Android device, and you'll be able to see where the problem is in the field. It's a little lower resolution, but at least it gives you an idea before you leave the field so you could go into a specific area.
So how much time would it take you to do like a quarter section?
A quarter section probably takes you roughly about 35 minutes or so, give or take, depending on the battery, but usually you could do it in 1 to 2 batteries, depending on the heights and the overlap. I usually have it standard overlap, and then I could get it done in just over a half hour.
So what are some of the limitations of using a drone to scout?
Well, it is timely, time consuming, but in the same token, it's timely as far as setting it up. If you have a bigger drone, the smaller drones like my Phantom 4 Pro, that's fairly easy. You pull it out of the box, you throw it in the air, and it's simple to get it going in the air. You get the bigger ones, you have to set up a little bit more. But the weather, that's definitely one of the things. Wind, you can't, I have mapped in the wind and it doesn't do a good, could potentially not stitch properly. If it's high wind, you can't even fly it manually. Rain, of course, same thing. But otherwise, it saves you a lot of time in the long run, just knowing where to walk. So another thing that is a limitation, I don't know, you got to make sure that you have all your proper licenses and stuff, which will allow you to show that you're legal flying any operation, especially if you're closer to towns or populated areas. Yep.
And are licenses pretty hard to attain?
No, there's the new one. There's the advanced, the basic, and there's the advanced as of June 1st. And but you got to make sure you have your. A number of years ago, probably about 4 years ago, I took my pilot's the ground course, schooling course, and so I have that with the radio license as well. And then it's an exam. I think you get an hour and a half to write an exam. It's a multiple choice exam, and it goes you over the different airspaces, what to do if you have any issues with the drone and stuff. It's not super hard, this one. The advanced version is a lot harder. and that one could take less time, more questions. So, yeah.
So can you talk about some of the different lenses that are now available for seeing different imagery?
I don't know too much about that per se. I do know you could get some multispectral lenses and stuff. I just use just the basic camera system on mine, and it will have just a regular RGB camera. That will, with drone deploy, convert to, they call it VARI. It is the false NDVI imagery of the field. So if you look at these two fields right here, or this is the same field, this one is the RGB portion of it, but this one is the NDVI portion of it, and it will show you the plant health. Of course, green better than the red, and then also with these cameras, it will show you the different heights. So we have, you could actually get elevation mapping done on your field too, and I've done it a few times. Matter of fact, I even have an example where I've done canola swaths, and I measure across the swath, and that's even at 400 feet. It will measure a foot high swath. It will show a little blip in the system as you go across, so it's very accurate.
Okay, awesome. Anything else you'd like to add? I
think it's a tool that a lot of farmers should use, and especially agronomists. I think it shows you some of the areas that you could walk and you could easily bypass. So it's definitely easy to get the exam done and get the proper tooling, and then you could get crop scouting. You bet.
So just to clarify though, this does not replace putting your boots to the ground and walking the field.
This shows you where to go. Yes, I do think that that's a very important message, that just because you have a drone does not mean you don't have to do any crop scouting anymore. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.